question. I want to remind
Hi there, this video's called Live, part 2 of Energy Crisis, House of Parliament, Politics video.
Other than actual new tax increases. And this has a very important impact in a positive direction on national finances, but unfortunately it won't be the end of the story. If we're going to deliver a credible budget in which we can demonstrate, as my right honourable friend asked earlier, that debt is falling as a percentage of GDP by the end of the period, then we're going to have further difficult decisions ahead, and this government won't shirk from them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A pandemic followed by a war. Our constituents do not expect this time to be easy, but they do expect us to set out the difficult choices, to make the difficult choices, and then set out the path for a better future. Can I ask my right honourable friend, particularly in considering his experiences of many years, to continue to press ahead with our commitment to reform social care, knowing as he does that social care and the NHS go hand in hand, and again how important they are to our constituents.
Well, she and I have had very many discussions on social care over the years, mainly when I've been a Baptist and she's been a minister. And it is a sector that is in great difficulty at the moment. I'm very aware of those concerns. I'm also very aware of the pressures in the NHS at the moment. I'm not making any commitments as to what exactly we will do, but as I said earlier, all these decisions will be taken through the prism of what matters most.
There's going to be more strikes on your watch, mate. More strikes on your watch, a lot more strikes.
Mr. Speaker, the Chancellor has put a brutal end to the self-proclaimed new era of Trustonomics with his announcement, and he's taken away £32 billion worth of planned tax cuts. According to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, that still leaves a £30 billion hole in his sums, and if rumours are correct, it could be as high as £40 billion if the OBR calculations that I've heard about are correct. That means surely, doesn't it, Mr. Speaker, austerity 2.0 of at least the same size as the first level of austerity we had from 2010 to 2015. Surely, Mr. Speaker, the Chancellor must know that public services simply cannot deal with that level of cuts when they've been so weakened by austerity, the first round of austerity.
Aye.
Let me say to the right honourable lady,
There's something else going on behind the scenes.
In 2010, when we had very difficult decisions to take in the wake of the financial crisis, and my department's budget was cut by 24%. And I don't believe we are thinking about anything of that scale. And I think it's likely that cash spending will continue to go up. But that said, I want to be completely frank. We are going to have very difficult decisions both on tax and spending in the next couple of weeks. We will try and take those decisions compassionately as possible. So it's going to be tough going forward, but I don't expect it to be on the scale that she suggests.
Sir Edward Lee. I congratulate the Chancellor on his soothing and competent tone, and of course we've got to calm the markets, but what is our vision? Of course we accept the shortcomings. Of course we accept shortcomings of the mini budget, but does he accept we can't just slide into a sort of second-rate economy and go in the direction of France with a bloated public sector, the higher taxes for 70 years, gross inefficiencies. By the time of the next election, can we as a Conservative Party promise to get taxation back, at least the level it was when we started the start of this Parliament, and get corporation back to one of the most competitive in Europe? Otherwise, what is the point of the Conservative Party?
You're checked up, mate. It's... wow, check. Jerry Hunt. Jerry...
Mr. Speaker, with all the noises we're getting from the party opposite, this compassionate Conservative government was able to step in with massive help from members of the furlough scheme, with the energy price guarantee because we took difficult decisions on the economy in the years that preceded it, each and every one that was opposed by the party opposite. I say to my right honourable friend that the point of a Conservative government is to build a strong economy. That's what we will do. It's the job. It's an important point I wish to make. It is the job of the Chancellor just to balance the books.
Stop lying.
Growth, and I hope I will persuade him in 2 weeks' time that I have just that.
You're in trouble.
Does the Chancellor agree with the Prime Minister, who confirmed that the state pension would rise with inflation in April? And if he does agree, commit to it today.
Well, I'm very aware of how many vulnerable pensioners there are and the importance of the triple lock.
Here we go again.
Not making any commitments on any individual policy areas, but every decision we take will be taken through the prism of what matters most to the most vulnerable.
Mr. Speaker, can I thank the Chancellor for his robust defence of Conservative economic policy over the last 12 years? More about that, please. And my inner chartered accountant can't but help welcome the fact that he's reassured me that it is the Treasury's job, essential task, to make sure the sums add up. Can I ask him a little about the review of the energy price guarantee? It's right, I think, to focus taxpayer support on those that need it most, but can I put his attention that 1/7 of the population are not on the gas grid? 40% of my constituents are not. As he designs that system to protect the most vulnerable, can you make sure it works for everyone in the country, wherever they live, however they heat their homes?
Aye, come on.
Lots of useful advice from his inner accountant over the months and years ahead. I will certainly bear that point in mind. The issue with the revised scheme that we want to announce for the energy price guarantee is that I think most people agree with the logic of targeting support where it's needed the most. But we need a scheme that works practically, and it's not actually particularly easy to design that kind of scheme. So we're going to do as much work as we can, and we'll announce what we're going to do as soon as we can, but we'll certainly know the points you made.
John MacDonald. The backdrop to today's statement isn't just the chaos of the last fortnight. It's also a report of 3 weeks ago demonstrated as a result of austerity there has been over 300,000 excess deaths. Can I ask him in his preparations for the 1st of October that he recognises that unless he increases benefit by at least the rate of inflation, there will be more excess deaths and suffering?
He will know, because I've said it many times today, that I'm not making firm commitments on any individual elements of tax and spending, but I hope he is reassured that I've been very clear about the values through which we will take the decisions.
Mr. Ridley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I congratulate my right honourable friend. He has hit the ground running in his job. These are difficult decisions. They're the correct decisions right now. We all aspire to tax cuts in the future, but he's right that we actually have to have the money to pay for those. Could I ask him, as he prepares for the 31st of October, to look in detail at how we address what is the most, in my view, deep-rooted problem this country faces and has done for decades, which is our current account deficit. We will not truly get rid of these issues until we restore a better balance in our net finances. Can I ask to make that a priority?
Well, I thank my honourable friend for his question, and I agree. Ultimately, it is not sustainable to have a permanent current account deficit, and that is something we need to address.
Aye.
Bentley.
Yeah, the Chancellor announced that he's reviewing the energy price guarantee. But does the government have any plan for the level of support offered to off-grid properties with the cost of the heating bills this winter? There's cross-party consensus that the £100 payment is inadequate to meet the rising level of bills. So will he bring forward further support in advance of this winter?
Well, I've listened carefully to what the honourable friend has said, as I did to my honourable friend from Forest of Dean, and we will certainly look carefully at what can be done for off-grid properties.
Mr. Speaker, can I welcome the necessary vigorous course corrections that our honourable friend has introduced? He began his statement by saying that the central responsibilities of any government, they also include security, defence of Britain, support to our allies, and standing up to our adversaries as we've done so in Ukraine. My right honourable friend knows the world's getting more dangerous, not less. Will he commit to continuing that promise of 3% GDP defence spend?
Well, it won't be a secret to my right honourable friend that I'm sympathetic to that, because I've campaigned for it when I was a backbencher very loudly and visibly. But all of these things have to be sustainable. Any increase in defence spending has to be an increase that we can sustain over very many years. Let me just say to him today that I agree with him entirely that the duty of the government is security for the population in all senses of the word.
Steve McKay.
Thank you. Does the Chancellor's compassionate conservatism extend to raising the minimum income component of pension credit, or is he prepared to let the poorest pensioners in the land be sacrificed in the altar of Trussonomics?
What I gently say to him is that whilst I completely understand how important it is to support our most vulnerable pensioners, what they need more than anything is a strong economy that can pay for the support that we would want to give them.
Simon Hall.
Can I welcome my right honourable friend to his place and breathe a sigh of relief at the grown-up and sensible approach which he's taken to the issues at hand. Can I also echo...
It's what Liz Truss had done in the first place. Last chance was rubbish.
To take into account those who are off-grid and using heating oil, they deserve as much support as we possibly can. My right honourable friend is newly empowered, and he is able to slay many dragons. Could he slay the dragon of fracking, which was not in our manifesto?
Well, that's a good one.
Well, this is an issue that's risen its head in my own constituency. Let me simply say to him, the government's position is very clear. We will not proceed unless there is local support.
Caroline Lucas.
Very interesting.
Mr. Speaker, in the bonfire of government policy that's just taken place, the Chancellor wasn't very specific about what would happen to the Prime Minister's investment zone policy. Personally, I'm hoping that it would be incinerated as well, not least because it is designed to undermine environmental regulation, to avoid fair taxation and bypass local democracy. Now, in the past, he has said that the Green Tory. I have to put it to him that is sadly an endangered species right. But if he's serious about being a Green Tory, will he now take steps to demonstrate it by ruling out any policies that will undermine nature, protection and restoration, and will he accept that there is no financial capital that is entirely dependent on a thriving natural capital?
I am absolutely committed to protecting our green spaces and boosting biodiversity, but I also think it's important to look at environmental regulations to see if they can be streamlined in a way that is consistent with allowing the natural world to flourish as the economy.
George Freeman.
Yeah, can I welcome and thank the Chancellor for bringing so quickly a calm reassurance to the markets and to this crisis. Would you agree with me that economic crises based on political confidence mean everybody in this chamber, both sides of the House, have a duty to reassure the markets?
Like this video?
Taking tough decisions.
Please a thumbs up. It's subscribe to Mission.
As we
Sun
look to
Gems.
grow, as he's highlighted, the technology and science areas
There you go.
provide huge opportunity, and we should resist the
Subscribe to my show on Sun Gems.
There is
Hi everyone.
no more formidable advocate.
This is my friend's barking trimmer on TF Friday, 3 to 5 PM. This is the Waking Radio Station's last show at 9 AM to 12 PM with John Andrews this Sunday.
With respect to
Thanks for watching.
reassuring
Bye
the
everyone.
markets, I think
Subscribe
the
to the
most
channel on
important
Sun
thing
Gems.
is, as we said earlier, that there is actually no disagreement about the policies announced today.